The way you code doesn't matter. For many years, I've continuously heard about best practices and don't use XY because Z is better. Use this framework, paradigm, method, etc. because it's bad and mine is better. But all in all, there is one truth beyond the sea of voices telling you what's right and what's wrong. Some time ago, I made a video about something called a module loader, which essentially just loads and caches modules so that they can be used by other scripts. The video's premise revolves around the fact that I personally don't really like how people make module loaders. So I provided an alternative solution that is smaller and does the same thing as the others. I personally don't use module loaders at all, as I personally like having IntelliSense and autocomplete. To my surprise, however, in the comments of that video, there were a bunch of people saying all different things like just do this, or this way is wrong because of XYZ, or this causes issues, and it got me thinking, does it really even matter? My answer to that is no, but the reason for that is quite interesting. In modern day, everybody wants the latest and greatest, and we as programmers are naturally inclined to build the latest and greatest thing. We bring games, apps, software, electronics, and much more to life in hopes of satisfying the world's hunger for entertainment and ease of use. This leads me to my first point. If you spend too long worrying about how something will be or how something is designed, there is a high probability somebody will do that thing before you, and maybe even do it better. Obviously, that doesn't apply in all cases, but you get the point. The world is hungry, and it's hungry now. Nobody cares that you've spent 5 years making a game in perfectly written C. They care about the game itself. That
I made this game in C, by the way, and I used XYZ paradigm, by the way,
doesn't matter at all to the people who are playing it. They care more about if the game is fun and they're not lagging. Which brings me to my second point. Take this processor made in the 90s, the Intel Pentium 90, and compare it to the Intel Core i9 12900K. The Core i9 12900K is over 3,000% faster than the Pentium 90. Do you really think one wait call is gonna take down that behemoth? Really? No. It wouldn't. It wouldn't even touch it. I would like to note for those furiously typing in the comments,
XYZ way of doing things when being called a bazillion times will actually slow down the CPU.
And to that I say, true. I personally am of the opinion that in a case like that, where it is causing significant performance issues, that the writer should try to find a better method than what they are currently using, as it's obviously a problem. The majority of projects are made by only one person. There's no coworker digging around trying to fix a bug, nor is there anybody else. It's a desolate wasteland where the only inhabitants of the codebase is you. Leading me to my third point. There's a high probability that the only person that will ever see the codebase is you. So it shouldn't matter if you are using a slightly slower method or writing something that is less presentable. Nobody is going to see it. Now you may ask yourself,
but Vironium the 20th, what about if I'm working with somebody or working in a TM?
The answer to that is right in front of you. If you are working with somebody, you should try to make your code more readable. Same thing applies for open source works. Those people who may want to look at the code might want to actually comprehend what they're reading, which leads us to one final thing. Developers that are new to an ecosystem always have the same question. Where do I start? The answer to this question comes in many forms because there is not just one answer. The best part about programming is that you get to learn how to do something for the first time, and you get to come up with your own solutions to problems. Every single programmer has gone through this cycle of run into problem and find solution. But something that is not often acknowledged enough, in my opinion, is that sometimes there are too many options to solve a problem, leading to a sort of paralysis. Which module do you use? What approach do you take? Which one do you choose in a scenario like that? Well, for a beginner, it starts with which one sounds like the best solution based on what people are saying. In the context of Roblox development, people shout many different solutions, and not all of them are going to be right for you, and may even push you to just give up on developing altogether. On Roblox, there is a popular tool named Rojo that allows developers to sync their codebase from VS Code to Studio. This tool has been shilled so hard that some new scripters and even scripters with years of experience believe that the only way to become a good scripter is to learn how to use it. That is just objectively false, but how would they know better? Well, they just simply wouldn't. And so with that being said, if you are a new scripter, my advice to you is to just learn the language and the engine. You don't need to learn how to use the new blazing fast network module or the new game framework. Just focus on the basics first. All in all, do what you want with your code. You don't need to use the latest and greatest JavaScript framework or game framework or whatever it may be, just because it's 1% faster. You don't need to rewrite your entire app in Rust, and you most definitely don't need to change how you want to code because some shill on the internet is too busy nitpicking little pieces of your code that don't matter. Spend your time building things and finding the methods that you like, the framework you like, so on and so forth. That's going to be it from me. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to give this video a like. And if you want to stay up to date with when I post, hit the subscribe button with post notifications enabled. Have fun, build awesome projects, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.